Check your watch. Time's running out. The deadline is December 14th. Now, that is when states must decide whether to set up their own health insurance exchanges under Obamacare or not. 14 Republican governors already saying no to creating their own exchanges, 6 agreeing to set up exchanges, and 9 still undecided. Now, one Republican governor still on the fence is Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell. And today, and this is a surprise, Democrats in the Virginia Senate urging the governor to call a special session to discuss the health care overhaul. Governor McDonnell joins us. Good evening, sir.
Hi, Greta. Thanks for having me on.
Nice to have you. All right, in terms of setting up these state exchanges, now, and I understand you haven't made your decision yet, if you don't set up a state exchange, it goes to a federal default one, so there'll be a federal exchange. I'm curious, what are the pros and cons? Why wouldn't you set up one? Why would you set up one?
Well, Greta, now that the president has won and the Supreme Court has ruled, this health care law is going to go into effect. But there's several ways to comply. For the exchanges, you can have a state or federal or partnership exchange. You know, normally most of us would, Republican governors would rather do things at the state level rather than have the federal government do it. But the problem is we've been asking for months in writing for information and the rulemaking to give us the information about how the state and federal exchanges are going to be set up. And we still have a great absence of information. So I've written Secretary Sebelius. We did get an extension last Thursday, but there are numerous unanswered questions. And so if they're not going to provide the information, Greta, the only thing to do is to default and let the federal government set it up. Either way, you comply with the law.
All right. Well, if you set up a state one, it's going to cost you money, right?
Well, there's a couple of problems. One, I don't know how much control we really have at the state level because there's still rulemaking that hasn't been done. It may be state in name only and really be federal mandates that we just run and get stuck with the price tag if the federal government doesn't completely fund it. That's a great concern with already an overburdensome Medicaid program that is killing most governors' budgets around the country. So we want to know what we're getting into. If there's no answers, we're going to have a federal exchange. I can't recommend that we set it up in Virginia.
What does your Democratic legislature want in this general session? What are they looking for?
Well, they want a state-based exchange. I mean, the Obama administration very much wants the governors to choose the option of setting up a state-based exchange so we can run it, because I don't think they're confident that they can or have the money they can do it. And then secondly, they want us to expand Medicaid. But that's the biggest issue, not so much the exchange. We're going to have some type of exchange because that's the law. But the Medicaid expansion, the Supreme Court ruled, as you know, Greta, they cannot penalize us for our existing Medicaid dollars by in order to, if we don't expand Medicaid. And, you know, it's already a huge budget buster regularly. We want to be able to have a good safety net and care for the poor. But if we don't have dramatic reform in Medicaid, which is a broken system with limited flexibility of the states, expanding it would be irresponsible and would break our budgets. President Obama himself said that 3 years ago, but that's what they're asking us to do now.
All right. In terms of if the federal government has to set up the exchange because your state doesn't or some other state doesn't, is there federal money set aside, or does Obamacare provide for the for the money to set up these exchanges? I mean, that might be a sort of a gaping hole in this legislation if it's not there.
Well, there's money right now for both state and federal exchanges. In fact, they just extended the deadline for about 2 years to get grant money to set up state-based exchanges. So I think there's a very soft deadline anyway. The federal government wants to know by December 14th, so if we don't opt for the federal exchange, they can set it up on their own to be ready for the January 1st, 2014 deadline. They've got some money for the short run, Greta, but, you know, Washington's broke, and they're going to have to cut funding for states and for their own spending, entitlement reform. And what we're afraid of is we agree to do some of these things on our own. They're going to stick us with a price tag at the federal level, not provide the resources, and that's not a good value proposition for the people of Virginia or any other state. So that's those are the challenges we face right now.
Governor, thank you and good luck. We're watching. Oh, when are you going to make your decision, by the way, sir? Do you have any idea? By the 14th?
Well, oh yeah, we'll make it by the 14th. If we don't have any better information, we can have a state-based exchange, and we'll join most of the governors, including a handful of Democrats that'll opt for the federal default. We want to have a good health care system, but we cannot have a system where they give us the price tag and limited information, and that's not a good deal.
Governor, thank you, sir.
Okay. Thanks.